Okay. So as you said, I'm the baby's baby, Mark's only son or daughter. um, I want to thank you for letting me. Okay. I want to thank you for letting me share with you today. I know that my slice of time with her was just that, a slice of her life, a tiny slice of her life. Having lived 89 years, had 7 children, 20 grandchildren, 48 great-grandchildren, and 10 great-great-grandchildren, she welcomed neighborhoods. Friends turned into family with a hug and a meal. We were all adopted in somehow. I know that there were generations before me and before me that got to know versions of her that I never will. I know that each of you holds a memory box full of her inside of you. You know her as sister, as tia, as mama, as friend, as abuela. Maybe with darker hair, younger eyes. Maybe you remember her with a limber body, standing beside my grandpa with babies, or moving to music in the kitchen or a dance floor. For me, it was the bluest house on the whitest street. It was avena and a plate stacked with buttered toast, sorting dry beans on the table, Little House on the Prairie in the background, or her humming at the sink. She would guide me in the kitchen, cooking with her senses and no recipe. My grandpa was always worried that I'd burn myself, and she'd nod for me to keep going, confident that I wouldn't. Her own pointer finger and thumb were numb to a gas flame years ago. I learned to dance in that kitchen. Listened as Spanish poured through speakers, and I'd ask her what they were saying. It was always something full of heart and dizzy with love, with loss, with life. I spent my summers there with my cousins. We'd run inside, an intermission from our imaginations, to a cool glass of Tang and a tortilla with butter, our refuge from the heat of the sun. I think back to the magic I felt as a kid running between adult legs at family parties, my older cousins playing basketball, people scattered in and outside of the house. I remember the big New Year's parties they'd throw every year, house full of people, music, and noise. I remember being a little girl with a belly full of grape juice watching my grandma and grandpa share at least one dance to commemorate their anniversary. I remember feeling that magic. I recognized the beauty in the dancing then, but now that I'm older, I also understand the gravity of real life that they surely dealt with every other day of the year. Real life that comes with marriage and finances and kids and grandkids, life. But at the end of the day, at the end of the year, they danced. When I was young and stayed the night, I kid you not, I would hear her in the next room praying softly for every one of her children, their children, and names of anyone heavy on her heart. Later in life, I learned that God works outside of space and time as we know it, and if that's true, I've always wondered if the answers to those prayers spread out across our lives and dropped in on us when we needed it, didn't even know we needed it. I hope she gets to see now how they've saved us. The prayers, the hugs, every bounce of dunkety-dunkety-dunk on her knee, the words of encouragement, the brownie cake in Las Mañanitas, the couple dollars slipped into our hands with no one looking, the way she didn't do any of these things for people to see, the way she moved with her heart and only her heart, the way this movement over time deposited in each of us the kind of love that you can't shake, the kind that makes you believe in goodness, in God. She planted seeds of faith, and not with eloquent words or theology, it was simply by witnessing her be. I think the lessons we learn that way seep the deepest. She saw straight to the good in us, loved us with her entire being despite our mess. She had a heart that 2 bypass surgeries couldn't stop. She made so much love and was determined to soak in every last bit of it, even to the end. If you got the pleasure of meeting her even once, you know that all of this is true. To my daddy, who has spent the past decade caring for her, returning that love, I honor you. Aunt Bernie, Teddy, and Daniel too. God sees, God knows. To my aunts and uncles, I hope you know that you have always been royalty to me. To my older cousins, I've always wanted to be like you. And to my younger cousins, I know you feel this too. You all have gold inside of you, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to write about it. And Grandma Cervantes and Carmen Cervantes Briones is at the core. She and Grandpa Luther's love birthed all of it. To each of you seated here, having been touched by this love, I pray that it multiplies in you and around you. She lives forever in us, in our stories, in our love. Thank you.